It's not easy for me to write this, but my community, Masafariata, will be destroyed unless more activists and journalists don't urgently come and join us. This is a post by Basel Adra, maker of this year's award-winning, Oscar-winning documentary No Other Land, which drew international outrage at Israel's demolitions in the illegally occupied West Bank. Welcome to MEELive Spotlight. Today we are spotlighting the destruction of Masafariata, which has only intensified in the months since Adra described their horrors on the Oscars stage. The 5th of May saw the largest demolition yet, where the village of Khalat al-Daba was almost wiped out and dozens left homeless. It marked exactly 3 years since Israel's High Court passed one of the single biggest expulsion decisions since the 1967 occupation. 3,000 hectares of Masafariata and 1,000 Palestinians were greenlit for eviction, following a 2-decade legal battle over the territory's designation as an Israeli military zone. Khalat al-Daba is one of the first of 12 villages to be cleared almost in entirety. It's the escalation residents have been fearing. Israel claims the region's Palestinian communities settled there illegally after its military designation. They have forced some to repay the costs of their own homes' demolitions or carry them out themselves. Meanwhile, Israelis have illegally settled in their place. Since full-scale war in Gaza broke out, settler violence and the expansion of illegal outposts have rapidly intensified in the West Bank as well, resulting in the death of at least 939 Palestinians, almost 200 of them children, according to UN data. Evidence presented to the European Parliament showed over 8,500 Palestinians have been wounded in these incidents, 9,900 imprisoned, and 46,000 displaced. Days ago, No Other Land co-director Yuval Abraham called on international journalists to come witness these events in Masafariata. But as journalists assembled for the visit on Tuesday, they were blockaded by masked Israeli soldiers who Abraham said have allowed settlers to occupy the demolished Palestinian town. We are now joined by the Oscar-winning documentary maker Basel Adra, who is from Masafariata. Basel, thank you so much for your time. Can you tell us what's happened since yesterday? Have journalists managed to access the area?
No, the area is still it's closed by military and Israeli police. They're closing it and preventing us, even as Palestinian activists, to move from our village to other villages in Masafriata. Palestinian journalists, Israeli activists, international activists, and journalists are prevented to enter to the communities of Masafriata.
Do we know what's going on in the town Khalat al-Daba that was demolished? Where are the displaced residents now? And have Israeli settlers moved in already?
So on May 5th, the Israeli army brought 4 bulldozers, invaded the community of Khalat al-Daba and destroyed 85% of homes, sheep shelters, water wells, solar panels, almost everything for the residents who lived there for hundreds of years, including ancient caves. So nothing left for the people to shelter in except of 4 rooms and 1 school and some ancient caves. And they start living there. On May 13, there was a brutal attack on one of the farmers. He was brutally injured in his head and his hand was broken by Israeli settlers. Israeli soldiers invade the community with the settlers, arrested 2 men from the community and forced them to pay bail in order to be released from detention. Last week, a group of settlers with the soldiers came and kicked one of the families out of their ancient cave, and settlers start to settle inside the cave, bringing over than 400 sheep, goats, camels, and they start to graze them every day in front of people's homes, in the gardens. Let their sheep and goat eat the grapes, the olive trees, the flowers, and the settlers themselves stealing people's belongings from their homes, preventing students to go to school, attacking people. It was very scary and very afraid. The day before yesterday, the army came with the police and forced us to leave from the community as a activist coming from a different village, which is very close, but the executives that were from the other community. and Israeli activists and international activists who was with us. And as well, we saw the settlers leaving. But now the settlers are back there with hundreds of sheep again. And I think that maybe the army knew about the uh, journalist tour, and they want to make the area calm by closing it by military decision, preventing the journalists to go in. They also let the settler go away for a while, and after this tour was cancelled or was prevented by the military, now the settlers are coming again in the village.
Basel, can you tell us where exactly Palestinians who are living in these communities are expected by the military to go? I mean, what about people who are elderly or children or people who are disabled? And what happens if people refuse to leave?
We are refusing to leave. I mean, we are because this is our land and we don't have other land to go to, and we want to keep living on our homeland, and we try to improve our life, try to build homes and school, and to get to connected our communities to water and electricity, despite that it's being destroyed uh, time after time by Israeli soldiers or Israeli settlers. And we try really to steadfast on our land as much as we can, facing all this brutal violence either by Israeli soldiers or Israeli settlers who we know their goal is to erase us from our communities. And this is what they are doing. They're taking more and more land and building more and more outposts and settlements. And now the new strategy is to build these illegal settlements inside the community itself and attack the people from within the community.
Now, Israel justifies these demolitions on the grounds that it is army-designated territory, Masferiata. And they say that residents like yourself settled there illegally after its designation. What do you say in response to these statements, particularly as we see more and more Israeli settlements springing up in the region?
So exactly, like there is many to say about this, but for sure our community existing before the existence of the state of Israel, and there's aerial footage that can show this, and we brought this to the Israeli court, but for sure we will never gain justice through Israeli courts that they are built systematically to justify this occupation. Israel should not be listened to when it speak about the occupied territories, because the ICJ has ruled very clear decision the whole occupation is illegally and should not exist. And second of all, this is our land. I am a Palestinian person with a Palestinian ID. I don't want to live under this foreign military control. So why these Israeli soldiers, 18-year-old soldiers coming from Tel Aviv with guns to control my life and to decide what is legal, what is not illegal for me? I am not Israeli. I don't vote for Israeli governments, but I'm controlled by this military. And all what they're saying, like the law here is weaponized against us as a Palestinians living there, because why you're controlling even our life, why you're existing on our land? You shouldn't be there with your settlements, with your army. It's our land, and we want to live there. We want to create our life there. We want to build factories. We want to plant it. We should be free to decide what we do in our land.
Your documentary, No Other Land, drew global attention to the attacks on your home communities. Do you think that this has had any impact?
As far as I see, it has impact on people on streets. But unfortunately, and this is a good thing, but unfortunately, it's heartbreaking that it does not has any effect on the situation on the ground. It's just going worse and worse with this brutal occupation. There's everyday attacks either by soldiers or settlers. There's everyday expansion of settlements, creating new outposts and destruction of our own communities as a Palestinians. So I hope that the international community will do something, serious actions in order to stop this brutality and this suffering.
I'm wondering whether there's opportunity, that there's help that could come as a result of this win? I know that when he returned to Masa Yatta after the Oscars, one of your fellow filmmakers, Hamdan Bilal, was attacked by Israeli settlers and detained by the military. This led to quite a backlash from some of the world's most famous actors after the Academy failed to acknowledge Bilal in condemning what had happened to him. This was powerful, and the Academy apologized. I'm curious whether any of these high-profile supporters have offered further help, given what's going on now.
Not yet, to be honest. We thank all the people who stand with Hamdan and who supported him. It's important, but unfortunately, the situation on the ground really very, very bad, and we're really living in so crazy situation with these settler soldiers. And the only thing really could help is international community do something serious in order to stop what's going on. Otherwise, Israel will keep receiving criticizing here and there, but it will continue because there will be no actions against it.
As you have spotlighted for us, Israel's demolition of Khalat al-Daba was their most destructive yet. Settler expansion in the West Bank is on the rise. What is Israel up to here, and is there still hope for the residents of Masa Yatta to save their communities?
For us, it's hard to speak about hope now, but for us, we are really rejecting the idea of giving up, and we will keep fighting as long as we can, and as long as we can hold this, and we will keep fight for our land. Inshallah, we will keep be living on our land, but very hard to speak about hope without seeing change on the ground, or changing, or because the future is not promising with this silence and the complicity of the international community with what Israel is doing on the ground. So it's hard to speak about hope, but on the other hand, we are not, the giving up is not a choice for us.
Basel, thank you for speaking to us about this. I know that it's not an easy topic.
Thank you.
That was Palestinian journalist and filmmaker Basel Adra, and you can keep up to date with Israel's actions in the West Bank and Gaza on our live blog at middleeasteye.net.